Alright lads, so the 3 new resurrected characters are finally here. In this case, we have HACHIGEN, Lisa, and also HIYORI. And in today's video, we're going to be showcasing them, talking about their upgrades, and just see exactly how they now play with their newfound resurrection. So the first character we're starting off with is HIYORI. And I'm not going to lie, I actually really enjoyed this HIYORI when she first came out. Now, actually having a look at what she picked up for her resurrection, essentially she got the very short end of the stick. And we talked about it when we reacted to her resurrection when it first got announced a couple of days ago, is that unfortunately with the way they've been handling resurrections, they're capped at 7 skills. Now, 1000-year Bloodroot characters are very fortunate enough to not be capped at 7 skills and instead given out 8 skills. I really feel like characters like this should also be given the same treatment, therefore be given 8 skills because it would have made her a tad bit better. But because she was capped at 7 skills, and this is the character that already had 7 skills to begin with, that essentially meant that she couldn't at all pick up a single new skill. And due to the way Caleb actually made characters back when these characters first initially released, by that I mean they were given skills that really didn't make sense. In this case, she has a Berserker value, increasing her strong attack damage, but realistically she doesn't need that. She's a Ned character. And you can see here that we're barely even using our strong attacks. At the same time, she was given a Devastation value, which allows her to do a tad bit more damage on a Soul Bomb, but what you're going to see here right now really like that Soul Bomb, by the way, is that we're using a Chappie, so like it really doesn't matter all too much how much damage our Soul Bomb can do because our SP's stuck at 0. So upon resurrecting, all she really picked up was a 20% Berserker and a 20% Devastation increase. Like that's literally not good because again, the main thing about this character is that she wants to do damage on her normal attacks, but she didn't receive any new skill or upgrade that could increase her damage output when it comes to the normal attack damage string. Besides the fact that of course she does get an increased set of stats, I believe she gets around 80 extra attack, which doesn't really make that much of a difference anyway. Now we actually are doing some respectable damage here, but keep in mind we are only playing like single player IZ, and I have actually given this character 1000 additional attack because she was a good character, and I still think she's a great character. The main usage you're going to get out of this particular character for the most part is mainly in guild quests, more specifically though the Amelie Hollow guild quests, and that was where I used her until recently when I got like a max transcended SP team where I don't need to use NAD characters. But she being a NAD character, being premium, you probably have dupes of her, and also the fact that she is immune to poison, the status omen that you are seeing in that guild quest, it makes actually a really good character. She has a vortex too, so like she was actually a pretty good side for that particular guild quest, and I would have liked to see her get something that could increase her value in that particular guild quest, but as already mentioned, she didn't really pick up any skills that increase her normal attack damage, so it really doesn't matter all too much. But at the very least, when it comes to her soul trait, that being 20% normal attack damage, it is now 20% NAD with the additional 80% last ditch survival. That's a good soul trait. I can see myself using that on someone like 1000-year Bloodroot Aizen, and at the same time, if you are someone that still uses this character in guild quests, it means that if she does die, you have an 80% chance to revive it, and that's not too bad. I like that. But in terms of resurrection, it's not the best. It's actually one of the worst ones in the game in my opinion. The character outside of the last ditch basically performs the exact same that she did prior to her resurrecting. And while resurrections don't really make characters super OP, it at least makes them a tad bit better, and this isn't really that. And it kind of sucks she got that treatment because I actually am a fan of HIYORI, and I do hope that sometime in the future she does receive a pretty good character. Just like this Lisa. Lisa got a new upgrade, so I don't really mind this character getting the short end of the stick, but let's quickly look at her strong attacks. Her SA1 is a lunge forward. This was kind of an interesting banner for the most part when they first came out a while back. Like, they came out just after the 4th anniversary. And the reason why it was interesting is because we got 2 technique characters, which is very rare for us to get 2 characters of the same attribute in one banner. In this case, this banner introduced 2 technique characters, and both of them were 2 characters that have Holo Killer, so it was kind of funny that we got 2 technique Holo Killers in one banner. It's rare for us to get 2 characters with the same attribute, but with the same killer too, that was definitely extraordinary. Now, this Lisa is definitely lacking in terms of the range, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually really liking the strong attacks this character has. Like, it actually plays quite well. Her SA1 is kind of cool. It's a lunge forward, but it does have some decent visuals to it. Her SA3 is just a standard full screen, and then her SA2 is the shockwave attack that does have a somewhat slowish output, so it's not really the most ideal attack. But her nat-string is actually quite nice with her basically just doing that jump kick. I like the third attack of it. Once more, we're going against Aaroniero, who's about to drop this end of month. Let's use our Soul Bomb. Soul Bomb was really cool, I like it. And then we also can just use our SA2 and clean up Aaroniero. And I forgot to mention, I think one of the weird things about these 2 characters, the HIYORI and also the Lisa, and I can't believe it's been like almost 3 years plus now since they have released, is that they're both using their like just base sealed swords. It's not even their Shikai. Their Soul Bombs have their Shikai, but for some reason in the gameplay, they don't have their Shikai. Which again kind of sucks, but luckily for Lisa, she got a new character, so like it's whatever now, but HIYORI still hasn't really received a new character since here. But in terms of her resurrection, this Lisa basically only picked up a 10% bruiser. So as already mentioned with HIYORI, these characters back in the day, you know, you wouldn't get Frenzy +1 and also a Berserker value. You pretty much get the opposite. So if you got Frenzy +1, you're most likely going to get Bruiser. If you got Flurry +1, then you're most likely going to get Berserker, just to kind of balance out your attacks that aren't normally going to do a lot of damage because you weren't given Frenzy or Flurry, for example. So in this case, because this Lisa already had 7 skills, essentially the only thing KLab could do, at least when it comes to the rules they set in place, not that I agree with them, is that they could only increase her normal attack damage by 10%. And as shown in the gameplay right now, we're not even using it. I mean, I'm about to use it now, but normally, you know, you aren't using your normal attack. So that extra 10% your normal attack damage really doesn't do much. But on the bright side, when it comes to her soul trait, she actually did pick up an additional 16% strong attack damage, making her one of the better technique links in the game. So that's not too bad. At least there's some light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to these resurrections. At least this particular batch is that she is a good link. She's a strong attack recharge and strong attack damage link. There are quite a few of those in the game right now, but if you don't have those characters, then she's not a bad link. In terms of resurrections, in terms of being a playable character, she basically plays the exact same for the most part, and I'd consider her resurrection still bad, at least by resurrection standards, but at the very least, she's a good link and is also giving you the orb, so she's not the worst one out there. And then lastly, we have the lad HACHIGEN, who I haven't used this character really much at all, besides basically what last year when he was a bonus for epic raids, which is also coincidentally coming back this end of month. Now this character, I believe I also have at least 500 extra SP on the soul bomb on the 6th slot, because I think he was actually decent upon release. And he's actually not bad. Like, look at the strong attacks here. Like, if he was potentially to pick up Havoc, or if he had picked up Havoc, it wouldn't have been too bad, because his SA1 is a beam forward, his SA3 is a full screen, and his SA2, despite being like a small AoE around him, that was basically the standard for back then. And I must say, like, and when it comes to the no-attack string and also the barriers that we have, I'd like to think that this is one of the better looking ones. It's literally just a square around him, but it just makes sense. Like, it makes sense that this is a barrier, and it just goes along with his gameplay. It looks really cool in my opinion. Now, and along with that, his actual soul bomb's actually pretty good too. I think it's one of the better ones in the game. Like, it's a pretty cool soul bomb, and he's wearing the mask too. Again, we need this HACHIGEN again, but in the mask. Like, they need to do it. They did it for Shinji, Love, and Lisa. They need to do the same for the other characters, especially HACHIGEN, Mashiro, and also HIYORI, because, you know, they didn't receive any remakes in the last couple of so months, like the other 5 vibes have done. Now, with that said, when it comes to his resurrection, what he did pick up was an additional 20% Berserker, because unlike HIYORI and also Lisa, he never had 7 skills. He was given 6 skills, so because of that, he was able to get an extra skill, which then allowed him to pick up 20% Berserker, and I guess that makes a tad bit of a difference since he is now doing 20% more damage. And like I mentioned, if you are someone trying to use bonus characters in this upcoming Menos Grande AER that has 72 million, that 20% Berserker might actually go a long way, unironically. Now, alongside picking up that 20% Berserker, his soul trait, which originally was 12% strong attack recharge, unfortunately became lacerate duration minus 55%, which as of right now isn't that useful. The only place you've ever seen lacerate be used is basically in Senkamon, where you can easily dodge the traps, and the other place you would see lacerate is in Arena, but you can't really use this character as a link. It's only going to be from Selva in Arena, so the link itself, in terms of an upgrade, is not really the best. Even in terms of resurrections, it's basically the bare standard, only getting a 20% Berserker, and when it comes to the soul trait, you only got lacerate duration, which isn't that good. I like status and duration soul traits, but when it comes to lacerate duration, I really can't see a usage of that. So maybe unless we start to get some IT content where they have lacerate pulls in the floor, I actually wouldn't even mind that, to be fair, then that link would actually become a tad bit more useful. So the link really comes down to KLab if they want to make it useful, because as of right now, it's not really the best link. But with that said, hold on, HACHIGEN is so huge, my god. But with that said, lads, that was the video for today, just quickly talking about the 3 new Resurrector characters. The best way to look at it is that it's an additional 225 orbs if you do own these 3 characters. Lisa's a great link. HIYORI's a pretty decent link, I can definitely see myself using that. And while HACHIGEN technically got better, it's not really enough for you to potentially bring him out into some new content. And as a link itself, again, it really comes down to KLab if they want to make that useful. But with that said, that's the video for today. Let me know what you like to think about these characters in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.